There's a couple articles I linked them down below from Zach Alberverdi. Some fantastic stuff. We're going to take a little bit of them, not everything, but I took these three names, and then we're going to talk about some intel that's made some adjustments. Again, links in the description. Go check them out. Zach, also the one who directed the Vernell and shot, and Quentin Tarantino'd his commitment video, which was fantastic. But breakout players that they wrote about from the OTAs, some noise that they're hearing. Some of those guys. These are more than just three. That I took these three, and the reason I took these three have been the ones that I'm most excited about. Obviously, DJ Lagway is somebody that everyone's excited about. I think we have our own anticipation about that, but I think what's in front of him with being Graham Mertz is going to quiet that noise more than we would like. And if it does quiet it, hopefully it's for good reason. But Miles Graham, one that we were really excited about, obviously comes in with the injury. The reason why I wanted to bring him up is that he's healthy. This is the report, healthy from his injury. He's been in a few practices and has made a strong first impression with the coach and teammates after being back. So I'm excited to hear that because I was really excited to see him in the spring game. We obviously hear the injury. I talked to his dad during the spring game. Wasn't a serious injury, just something that's been lingering for quite some time. They had an opportunity. Let's go fix it, and that's exactly what they did. Obviously, they probably way out of the timeline, and the fact that he's already hit the ground running, he's essentially fighting for a backup spot with Shamar, because it looks like Pup has really solidified himself as the him and Shamar 1 and 2. But Miles behind Shamar and being that second guy, we're going to see a lot of Miles, which is exciting. Again, think about that's a freshman. We're going to see a lot of this year at that linebacker position. Next being, and somebody who came in late, and somebody that this linebacker class was elite, Aaron Childs. Miles Graham being the legacy player, obviously he gets a ton of hype. Elgin McGray, Aaron Childs coming, he was a number one player from Maryland, so he kind of gets not brushed to the side, but this class had a lot of just fun, talented, high potential guys coming in. So when you come in a class like that, you in a way drop down the list of excitement, right? Not in a negative way, just it is what it is. But Aaron Childs is an absolute beast. His size alone, this guy is NFL ready physically today. This is what they wrote. It says Childs is a summer enrollee, but won't stop him from seeing the field this fall. He's been a beast in workouts, performing near the top in all the chart categories Florida measures and keeps track of. Childs has a couple plays ahead of him at middle linebacker or Mike linebacker, but should still play in the rotation. So crazy to hear about what he's doing just off the field. And these are OTAs, so there's no coaches and whatnot. It's them directing their own practice, but those two guys, and look, that's that linebacker room, a room that has struggled over the last few years. It needs some juice, and we've been hearing great things with Shamar and Pup, but we've lacked the quantity. And look, Derek Wingo's still in that room. So think about it. If Miles is competing with somebody like a Derek Wingo, who's your breakout player of the year, who would love to see him do well, this room is looking extremely, extremely healthy. With quantity and quality, something again, it hasn't seemed or even felt like we were going into it. I don't feel like we've gone into a year feeling this optimistic about a linebacker room.
Yeah, I mean, you go back to last year with all the missed tackles and how the team struggled when Shamar James was hurt, and just a lot of big run plays that were just giving up, and then a lot of guys getting into the secondary. Now you finally got guys that can solidify at least that linebacker spot that can help out there. Especially, obviously, if there's a breakdown on the defensive line or something like that. So it's good to have like a guy like Aaron Childs coming in at like 230 pounds already. He came in at like 220, now he's 230, and he's already starting to make plays. I mean, we saw the Under Armour All-American game where he was the main linebacker out there making plays. Didn't win MVP, obviously, but he was out there making plays, getting turnovers, scooping up fumbles, all sorts of stuff like that. So that's stuff you like to see from a linebacker. And Miles Graham, the guy's already built like a tank anyway, and he can move as well. We saw him in the Under Armour game. You only see bits and pieces, I guess, because of Under Armour and high school film. You don't really get too much intel into the practices yet. You will after around July 31st or so, but you at least get to see what kind of skill set that they bring to the table, and it makes it exciting, and it brings competition. And I know I said Derek Wingo was my MVP, but hey, man, if you can't get past these guys, you may not even get on the field. Maybe you move to a different spot. Maybe you move to a different position. Maybe you stay where you're at. I think Derek Wingo's been pretty content with staying where he's at, considering he's still here at the University of Florida. He has at the transfer portal. So it's really, I mean, like it's a really, really good thing to see a position that struggled. It's good to have a position that struggle, especially offensive line. I'm excited about the offensive line this year with the experience that we brought in, transfer portal guys coming back. I do like that. Obviously, we still haven't even talked about like the guys that were injured coming back as well. I mean, like you got a lot of production and you got a lot of guys that you brought in that were elite players. Even the LJ McCrae's, you saw him making plays in the spring game. I mean, this is what happens when you bring in high level top 50 5-star guys. I mean, these guys can come in and automatically play depending on how much they learn the playbook and how some guys can come in with zero experience and be completely anomalies. Like I guarantee you, if Will Muschamp would have started Will Greer, he'd have been better than every quarterback on that team, even as a true freshman.
Don't.
Will Greer's a top
Hey,
50 player,
yeah,
almost a
don't
five
don't
star.
don't do that to me.
Yeah, I
That
mean, but
gets you get me
that's the
emotional,
difference.
bro.
But
We talk about that. Like we don't just speak.
what
You got to let me
that's
know
what I'm
when
trying to
we're
tell
gonna
you.
bring up
Like
Will. When you bring up Will
these
Greer,
teams,
like that's
yeah, yeah,
like don't
yeah.
do that. Don't do
These
that.
teams that are consistently good, though, consistently bring in top 50 and 5-star players. Look at Georgia, look at Alabama. They're not going to lose a beat. Oregon soon here won't be able to lose a beat either with the way that
Golly,
they're recruiting. And that's the difference between your top 150, your top 200, your top 100, and then the top 55-star guys.
for sure. And the last one is obviously LG McCray. I saw you guys arguing about it in the chat, which was kind of ironic that you guys were already on that topic. Gators Online, they felt that hey, McCray was going to be the most likely freshman to see the field. And they said they have that they still feel that way heading into this season.
Oh,
Again,
yeah,
you got to
I
keep in
do.
mind, we talk about these freshmen, and I think we're going to see them. Jordan Castell last year is in my eyes the bar of freshmen playing on the field. That is probably the most you're going to see a freshman. Like he was a starter. I I don't think these guys that we're talking about are going to see the field that much, but for good reason, right? You don't really want to see a freshman that often unless it's dire need or they're just that good. He was a little bit of both in that safety position with Jordan Castell. I don't think
Yeah.
these three that we're talking about here are going to be in that category, but again, for good reason, because of the guys in front of them are just should be much better than them. But they believe LJ, he's been kicking butt in the passing drills, which could also mean our O line sucks, but whatever. Um, look, I think he'll be like what a TJ Searcy was. I think he'll be a Kelby Collins, right? Somebody who
Yeah.
was impactful. And those guys did play a lot, so I can't say too much. They came in and they played a second rotation, a very healthy second rotation. So I think that's probably what they feel that he'll be on the football field. I don't think I don't think a freshman is going to be what Jordan Castell was last year, but I also think that's a good thing, excluding injuries. Obviously, that doesn't count. Um,
Yeah, it's really just the experience factor is why freshmen usually don't play before somebody else. But now, like if you're struggling and you're just extremely struggling at a position, you'll throw a freshman in there that may have been a high-rated player and see what they can do at least at that point. But I don't see us struggling there at linebacker with bringing in Pup Howard and you're having returning Shamar James. I just don't see it unless there's a ton of injuries or something happens. But I think we're pretty set there at linebacker.
no, absolutely, I'm excited. Great stuff there. And